It officially begins. The left-wing mainstream Marxist media is beginning to call for the Democrats to dump Biden. That's right. And if you think about it, it didn't take long. Well, it didn't take long after their deliberate attempt to cover up the Tara Reade allegations collapsed. We're going to take a look at the first official call for Biden to step down and how it all points to the collapse of the MeToo movement and what was once one of the Democrats' major political weapons that's blown up in their face. You're going to love it. Greetings, everyone. Dr. Steve here with you. Super happy Monday to each and every one of you. If you're looking for your daily white pill of encouragement to help you counter all the ridiculous fake news that's out there from our corporatist globalist media, you have found your oasis here. We analyze current events and analyze some super awesome conservative trends so you can live in the present in light of even better things to come. It doesn't get better than that. So you know what to do if you haven't already done so. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You're going to love being a regular part of this channel and interacting with this network of conservatives from all over the world. Now, before we dive in here, let's give a huge shout out to the sponsor of this video, and that's collagen, available at healthwithsteveturley.com. Now, if you don't know, collagen may really be the closest thing we'll ever get to a real fountain of youth. Many health experts now agree that consuming collagen is crucial as it gets to renew and revitalize how you look and feel. Taking collagen regularly can revitalize your body, make your skin, bones, even your hair look and feel more healthy and youthful. Now, if you're interested in learning more about collagen and getting your own supply, then visit healthwithsteveturley.com or just click on that link below and check it out. You'll be glad that you did. All right, gang, let's dive right in here. It has officially begun. The left-wing media is beginning to panic over Joe Biden. Now, we've talked about this before, but for the last several weeks, the major Marxist media outlets tried their best to bury Tara Reade's accusations against Joe Biden of sexual assault. We noted in one of our last videos from last week, during the 4 weeks after the allegations were first made public, Biden was asked 142 total questions in 19 different interviews, and not one question came close to touching on the topic. Not one question, the 142 questions asked to Biden by the mainstream Marxist media, not one of those questions even hinted at the allegations that were made public against Biden. According to the Media Research Center, in the month after Tara Reade's accusations against Biden, ABC and NBC didn't air a single thing about it, and CBS devoted just 63 seconds to the topic. Now, by contrast, in the 12 days after Christine Ford made her allegations against Judge Brett Kavanaugh, those same networks devoted a full 6 freaking hours of their morning and evening news shows to that scandal. And all this despite the fact that Tara Reade's sexual assault allegations now officially is more evidence than Christine Ford's accusations against Judge Brett Kavanaugh 2 years ago. But of course, this cover-up, this deliberate attempt by the mainstream Marxist media to put a lid on this has collapsed. The roof has been blown off, and so they now have no choice but to confront it right along with Biden. Both of their credibilities have suffered as a result. Both Biden's credibility and what's left of the mainstream Marxist media's credibility have been hammered as a result of this. And keep in mind that the mainstream media's trustworthiness was already at an all-time low prior to their cover-up. The recent Morning Consult poll that surveyed the most trusted brand names in the nation found that only 8% of Americans trust the mainstream media. Now that their cover-up has collapsed, what's left of the media's trustworthiness, we can be sure, will implode. But no matter, because the left-wing activists disguised as journalists still think that they have some semblance of credibility, at least among their fellow Democrats. And so now we're finding that Biden's little Me Too moment here is giving more and more leftist activists disguised as journalists, well, cold feet over his candidacy. And so over the weekend, Joe Biden's nightmare came true. The New York Times, the queen bee of the liberal media, has called for him to withdraw from the race. In a Sunday op-ed entitled, "Democrats, It's Time to Consider Plan B." It's time to consider Plan B. Oh, Democrats, fellow Democrats, how have we fallen for this? The piece was written by Elizabeth Bruenig, who's a leftist opinion writer. She's actually part of the Catholic left, sort of the pro-Marxist Francis left, as I understand it. And her piece is really a stunning repudiation of the Biden candidacy. She begins by rehearsing Tara Reade's accusations against Biden of sexual assault when she worked in the Senate office back in 1993. She recalled how Reade gave her full story to Rolling Stone's Katie Halper in a podcast interview, where she described the graphic incident that allegedly involved Biden pinning her against the wall of his office there and inappropriately touching her. To her credit as well, Bruenig cited a number of corroborating witnesses who did in fact confirm that Tara Reade had told them of the incident when it occurred 3 decades ago, as well as her mother calling into a Larry King Live program back in 1993, asking for advice on how her daughter should handle what she called a very sensitive situation involving a powerful, high-profile senator. Now, Bruenig admits that cases like this do in many respects come down to a he said, she said scenario. So we may never know what actually happened. But what we do know is that Democrats need to start thinking about Plan B and officially dump Joe Biden as their nominee. That even rhymes. Her argument is understandable, if not frankly overwhelming. Bruenig rightly points out that more and more people are recognizing, they're seeing the clear double standard, indeed the explicit hypocrisy between the media, the way the media and the Democrats treated the accusations from Christine Ford against Judge Brett Kavanaugh, and the way they've all but dismissed comparable allegations with even more evidence from Tara Reade. And this blatantly obvious gulf between how Democrats have approached sexual assault in politically advantageous cases versus how they've dismissed Tara Reade, it threatens to discredit the entire enterprise of justice, women's equality. Again, we did a video last week on precisely this, how liberal support for Biden is indeed in the process of completely destroying feminism and revealing the so-called MeToo movement and its leaders as completely and totally corrupt, as those who care nothing about women but care only about power and money for themselves. And we know that feminism and the MeToo movement has joined the ranks of the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, as a grievance politics racket that makes millions of dollars by accusing primarily conservatives of sexism or sexual assault in the case of MeToo, or racism and bigotry and hate, as in the case of the SPLC. These grievance organizations are corrupt to the core, and more people are seeing it. So I think this New York Times columnist is right on that the more people see this glaring hypocrisy between the discrepant ways liberals responded to Christine Ford's allegations versus how much they've dismissed Tara Reade, even though Tara Reade has far more evidence in corroboration, I think that glaring hypocrisy is enough to discredit the entire enterprise of the left-wing feminist vision of equality. But what I think Bruenig, this New York Times columnist, misses is precisely how the insanely absurd, frankly, despotic standards that both liberal left politicians and media pundits established during the Kavanaugh hearings have come back to bite the left. And we always knew that they would. We always knew that. This is what astonishes me with these left-wing pundits, how myopic they are in their assessments of things. They don't seem to recognize that whatever weapons they come up with against the right, eventually the right is going to amass the capacity to fire those weapons back on the left. And so as the New York Post has one of their lead articles today, the Democrats are beginning to succumb to the very absurd MeToo standards that they tried to impose on Brett Kavanaugh. And why on earth should we be surprised by this? Again, what this New York Times reporter seems to miss is that for all her well wishes and do-gooder intentions, once MeToo sentiments were repackaged as a subset of left-wing grievance politics, they became weaponized. That's what grievance politics always does, because that's how leftists in charge of grievance politics make their money. As we saw with the whole Kavanaugh debacle, leftists weaponized the MeToo movement. This is what this New York Times writer simply doesn't seem to get. Leftists weaponized the MeToo movement, and as such, the movement was redesigned simply to destroy rather than rectify. It sought to crush rather than inspire. A Me Too movement, it turns out, has nothing to do with inspiration because leftist liberals have lost anything and everything that was capable of inspiring. It's now entirely an ideology of destruction and intimidation at this point. And now we are witnessing the first official case of friendly fire, where it does look increasingly likely that where the Me Too movement failed in bringing down Kavanaugh, it will have succeeded in destroying their very own candidate for president. Amazing. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my video I just posted on French President Macron's poll numbers imploding. The latest polls came out just yesterday on Sunday. You won't believe how bad things are for him. So make sure to click on the link, and I will see you over there. God bless.